Okay, basically what we will do today is like we will just discuss just write a small chunk of code watching just following an algorithm or a pseudocode. So yeah, it's LU decomposition. I think everybody knows how the thing works, but let me just give a small review what I'm just going to do. So let's have a 3 by 3 matrix, it's square matrix, so it's a 7 by 2. So what LU decomposition do is like it just goes column by column and just search for the biggest value, and then in which row it just finds it, it just swap with the upper one and the lower one. This is how the thing works. So the first task is we have to find the absolute value in each row. So how could we write the code? So that's the thing. So I already have written the code and I have the pseudocode here. We will try to follow along the pseudocode. So yeah, so let's say this is my original code. I just written the code. Definitely I took help from ChatGPT and stuff. But yes, okay. So let's go for this one. We will just find the column in which row the column has the highest value. If it finds, if it will switch it. So just we will just write that code. So okay, so let's just delete, I think, until this one. Okay. Yeah. Okay, what we will do is basically just make it a bit smaller and yeah. Okay, here's the algorithm. So what we have to do, we have to go through all the columns. That's the first step, okay? So let's write go through all the columns first. So what we have 3 by 3 matrix, so it's n, it's 3. So what we have to do, we have to start from like n 0, and let's say it's an integer value. I start from, let's say, in column equals to, let's say, 0, and it will go until n, so it has to be, and then what I will do is I will increment the value, right? Okay. This is the first step. And then what I have to do is like, I have to keep track which value is there and which row is conducting as a pivotal row. Okay. So let's write here is the algorithm. It says exactly what I'm saying. So pivotal row should be definitely the column I'm starting with. This is how it just goes through, right? So let's say I just take an integer value. So I don't think I need a double for that because it's just storing 0, 1, 2, 3 or any of the values, right? So it should has to be pivot row. I just named the variable and it has to be the column first. Okay. Absolutely. And then it has to be okay. Yeah. So it's done. And then I told you I have to also store keep track of the maximum value of the each column of that row. So what basically I'm doing here is that forget about this column and this column, just concentrate on that. It's 4, 2, and 1. So the column 0 and the row 0, row 1, and row 2. In which row of column 0 has the highest value? I have to find this thing. Okay, it's a very easy explanation how we will do that. So now what we have to do is like, and let's say I just take, let me take this double because the value could be double position. So maximum name of the variable. I'm so lazy, I just don't want to write everything. So for the absolute value, it has to be labs. Okay. Yeah, and it's the names column and column, right? Okay, yeah, I think it's correct. Now, there might be another question why I am using this n cross column n, because this is the flatten rule. So basically in the 3 by 3 is a 2D matrix. It could be 1000 dimensional matrix, but in C, it just flattened to 1D for just calculation, easier calculation and compilation. So you have to follow this rule. That's all. Okay. And then now I have to go through the rows for each rows. So I need another column. And there's a very interesting thing. I just ask you a question from where I should start counting. I think you figured it out because I have to start from the next row of the corresponding column because I want to make this thing 0 under the diagonal. So I have to start from the next value of the column. So if the column is 0, the row should be starting from 1. So I have to go through each. Okay. Yeah. So then what I have to do is like, here's my pseudocode again. So let's take another one, and it's like integer row, and I start from 0. Oh yeah. And then it will go until, I would say, like n. Yeah, it should be n now, but not b. And the row should be incremented. Very good. So now it's the most interesting part, because now I have to track the highest values in each row of that column. So let's say integer value. Here, what I do is I just put those values here, right? Okay. Yep. So it's oops. Very good. I think I did it. Yep. Why is the mistake showing error here? I don't know. It's a minor issue. I get um I don't know, basically. Okay, we could just ignore it because it's not an important thing. We could figure it later. So now I have to put a conditional statement that I have to check if the value I'm getting at that row is it maximum? Is it the greater value than I put in the maximum variable? If so, I will swap. Otherwise, it will put as it is. So if the value is greater than the maximum, what I will do is I will put the maximum, the value of the value, right? And then the pivot row should be also changed. This is how we just do the stuff. Okay. I'm sorry, I bought a new German keyboard. I'm used to it, so this thing's happening. And this is all. And this is just for just keeping the track. We don't need that much of this thing, but this is the whole thing about the thing. Now, for the swapping thing, let me show you, because it's very easy. I think everybody could do how to swap the rows. But where does this thing come from? So I think, no, you guys know, but let me show you. Let's say I just want to show the analogy. So let's say this is Umo, this is me. This is my two hands. In one hand, I have the 5 kilograms of weight, and in the other hand, I have another, let's say this is my two hands. I'm sorry, I'm so bad at drawing. So 5 kilograms of weight. So I just name it A and B. Let's say all of a sudden, my friend came and he just told, oh, Umo, you just switch your hand, left hand, maybe which is in A with C. It's maybe a bit lighter. It's 4 kilograms. Not that much, by the way. So you have to switch it. So how can I do this? Because my two hands are occupied, right? So I have to put this somewhere else in the table, let's say. So now it's empty. My left hand is empty. When I put this 5 kilogram here in the table, then I can take this 4 kilograms, right? And then I just put this thing on the previous variable. So this is how the changing thing happens. So in the code, what have been done is like in the temporary variable, you just put which you want to change, and the new variable, you just put the value you want to implement, and in the previous value, which is vacant again, you just put the value of the temporary value. So this is how we just switch it. So if we want to switch between two variables, we need another variable to put there and put the other one and the old value to there. So let me just explain once again. The thing happening is here is like it's A here, and I put A here, and here let's say B. I want to swap between A and B. So what I do is like I just take another variable C. I just put A, the value of CA here, so it's vacant. Now I just put B here. So now B is vacant, and in the B I just put C. That's all. This is how the thing works, okay? Okay, so the thing is basically we're done. So this is all the codes. I just don't want to go through with the mistakes and everything. So I have already written the code here. So let's run the code. So, and then finally, there is another one which is called this thing, what this thing does, right? So basically, we need the multiplier. So how can we get the multiplier? So before getting the multiplier, let's say in 4, 2, and -2. So to get the multiplier, I divide 4 by 2. So what I get, it's 2. So I multiply this rows with 2. So it becomes 4. So if I subtract from this row to this row, it becomes 0. So until becoming 0, this loop will go through that. And this is how we just multiply. And that's why in the code, you see, we are subtracting the values. And this is how the thing works. And we just ran sequentially one time and parallelly one time. So if you run parallelly, we just divide into multiple threads, and the calculation is a little, I would say, if the matrix is so big, it's way more faster. So this is how the thing works. Okay. So I just wanted to show you like how we could just break down a very big problem into small chunks and try to write the smallest chunks by watching the pseudocode. This is how we just do. So